Hey everyone, I'm going to show you some Diablo 4 gameplay from the beta up to the boss at the end of the beta. Basically what I'm using in this is I've got the Blizzard effect, Firewall, and the Hydras. It works out pretty well. You can figure out your own builds as you go, but I do have a video where it shows kind of the skills you can select, so you can look that up. The key thing with the Sorcerer is basically finding the right synergies for your play style. It could be firewalls, it could be blizzards, it could be whatever you want. In this case, I have the increased mana regen when I drop firewalls, so that keeps my mana up. And then the blizzard, of course, is just nice because it slows them. And sorcerers get a passive ability. You do a little quest earlier and you can actually equip one of your spells to a passive ability slot. And depending on what you equip there, it gives you a different ability. So that's a pretty cool element they have here. I attached the frozen orb to my extra ability. So all of my abilities that cost essence have a chance to spawn a frozen orb. So you'll see that sling out occasionally when I'm using spells. Overall, the game's nice and dark and gritty like most Diablo games. And so far, it's been quite an enjoyable experience. So as far as the beta goes, the level cap is 25. The level cap in-game will be at least 70 plus based on the difficulty levels, because if you look at the difficulty increases, for the tournament level, it recommends level 50 to 70, and then for the highest difficulty, it recommends 70 plus. So you know you'll get at least 70 levels to get skill points and level up. Another factor is, I mentioned in a different video, with everything you need to know about Diablo 4, is that there are renown points you can earn on the map by doing quests and other things in the area. And those unlock extra skill points, extra stat points, and everything for all of your characters on the realm. So it's pretty handy. So you can get more skill points than you might originally be able to by just leveling. So we're heading over to the last boss. Basically, you spend a lot of time in this dungeon killing tumors and doing things like that. So, alright, here's the final boss room. And you'll get to see what not to do. This is the first time I've attempted the fight, so I'll give some pointers here in a second when it fires up. So the boss does a couple different things. He'll do a shot at you that doesn't do too much damage. He does these poison puddles on the ground that do a lot of damage. And we'll find out the hard way here what you need to make sure you do in the fight. So I'm going, popping potions. I've got my ice shield going. And this mode here will kill you unless you get into that bubble in a timely fashion. Boom, dead. So when you first start, there will be an NPC that spawns in the bottom right, and you need to make sure you're in that bubble. He'll move around during the fight, but when he first jumps in, it'll be in that bottom right. And he shields you from that giant AoE that just one-shot me. So we're going to head on over to the boss again and look at it that way. Another nice thing is there is a dash ability in the game, and as you can see I have 2 charges. It's down there by my mana bubble on the top left of the mana. You can dodge attacks that way. It's just a miniature dash. There are items and things that will improve that or modify it. Right now I have 2 charges because of an item. So, big key with this boss. Try not to stand still when there's bubbles on the ground, obviously. It plays a little bit more like a Warcraft boss, honestly, for anybody who's played World of Warcraft, which, being a Blizzard game, a lot of us probably have. So, the little shots are basically attrition. This guy will spawn down, you hide in his bubble, and stay out of the bad. It's the only way out of it. And then you come back out, and you keep beating on it. He does his cone attack as well, you want to dodge, and he'll occasionally drop out health potions for you. And then once you get him past that first arrow notch, you start spawning these waves of blood poison. Those also don't feel very good when you get hit by them. So just stay out of the puddles, use the dash when appropriate, and dodge the waves. The waves tend to follow the same patterns. So if you watch the clear spots for the waves, they tend to be in the same kind of grid pattern as they spawn. And that's how hard that cone hits. You saw that one there. He's not terrible to beat, but you have to constantly be moving. And it's kind of difficult if you don't have any way to keep damage on him while moving around. With the Sorcerer, it's pretty easy. Some of the melee ones have some mobility stuff, so it's not as bad either, depending on what skill sets you have. But you definitely want to be able to move around. So we'll keep going here. Knock out the boss. Better to have less damage and not get hit in this fight than it is to just keep laying out damage and take damage. Because dead DPS does 0 damage. Alright. Dodge there, dodge there. Another thing that's pretty helpful in this is having some good essence regeneration abilities. I regained some resource from firewalls and a couple other ways. So just make sure you keep an eye on those, because if you're out of mana the whole time, you can't get much done. Or whatever resource your character's using. What I'm running with this is my standard left click attack. And this will have spoilers coming forward, so if you don't want to see anything, you might want to skip ahead a few minutes. What I have is my attack is the lightning attack for my left click, my basic attack. And I have it scale to where it increases my crit chance the more I use it. And then I have the Hydra ability where when you crit, they get 30% increased crit for a period of time. So it makes the Hydras do a lot more damage. And there's a lot of little synergies like that you can find in the skill trees. Like I said, just find a synergy that works for you, and then and once you found the synergy that works best for your play style, then kind of play it to the hilt, I guess. And there's a bunch of different synergies, and you can respec just by opening your skill tree and paying money per point you get back. It kind of scales up. It's really inexpensive at first. So I definitely recommend trying a few different things before you settle in on something. And sometimes you'll get a legendary, or you can get unique items later which are above legendary that basically can modify your play style to where you'll enjoy it a little more. And you might actually respec just to account for those items.
Yes, I see it now. They have come.
You didn't need that armor to prove your worth, friend.
Okay, now we're going to see what legendaries we got. Avalanche passive is another cast, and when not healthy you get a bubble that makes you immune every 90 seconds or so. That's pretty useful. Right now I've got +1 to all my mastery skills though. So having +1 to mastery skills, you'll look, they'll say the category on them. You can see them in the tiers here. Essentially, I got +1 rank 2 Blizzard, Firewall, and the Lightning Orb and Meteor. I don't like the delay on Meteor. Oh yeah. So I'm not using that, but if you see, I've got that passive there with the Frozen Orb that gives you a 20% chance when you're using any of your non-basic skills to summon a Frozen Orb. So here's my skill tree. I've got the Spark with the increased crit chance, which combines well with some of the other stuff. And then I've got the Ice Shards that makes enemies vulnerable. Vulnerability is big. It starts at 20% bonus damage, and there are items that increase that bonus damage. So you can really stack up vulnerable in a nice way if you do it properly and you get the right item set. And in this, I have my crits also can reset my defensive skill cooldown. So you can Frost Nova more or Frost Shield more, or whatever it is you want to do. My Hydra gets extra crit when I crit. And then the Firewall mana regen I found really helpful. You can get mana regen in other ways, but I find with the Firewall it's the easiest way with my current item set. And that's kind of the skill tree I have set up at this point. Obviously it's not a finalized build for the live version, but it's a good start. And it'll get you through the first act at least. So we're going to run down here and we're going to get a cutscene. And I'm going to be quiet for the cutscene so you can enjoy it.
I don't know if you would have chosen to stand beside me in this new world, Rathma. But I would have saved your place, just the same. And now, all that you might have been has been stolen from me. Stolen. This key unlocks more than the doors of hell. It unlocks our path to the future. A future made possible because of the price you paid. Your sacrifice will not have been in vain.
As you can see, the cutscenes in this are actually pretty good. I typically skip them in games, but I recommend watching them at least once in this. You can hold escape to skip any of the cutscenes, which is also nice. And there's the map to get down here. And yeah, really enjoying it so far. The beta I think is a good success. They've probably identified some server things they got to work on, but the game's looking like it's going to be great. I've liked all the classes I played, the Sorcerer most of all. But thank you for watching the video. Hope everybody enjoyed it, and have a great day.